Heyo everybody, Haku here with my live reaction for Tower of God Season 3, Episode 77, overall Chapter 494, recording this in a marathon to catch back up this week so that I can be all caught up when 496 comes out. Wow, we really are closing in on Chapter 500, that's insanity. It's crazy. So yeah, either way, I just now really gave that the weight that... Yeah, I just noticed the weight of that. But either way, we have another content warning. This episode contains depictions of violence that may be upsetting to some readers. I feel like there wasn't really anything that warranted that so much last chapter, though. But either way. Okay, this is cool. So we're starting off in a flashback. What? I'm originally from a branch of one of the 10 great families, but because of a situation with my parents, I grew up with the main family. Ever since I was little, I've always been closer to animals than to people. As an indirect... Okay, so he is a 10 family person then. And he was telling the truth about being close to animals, even though, like, he was lying about other things. Again, more of an omission than a lie, really. As an indirect descendant, I felt alienated by the people in the main family who looked down on me. But animals are so straightforward about their feelings that I could relate to them right away. When I gave animals love, they gave the same love back to me. They never betrayed me. After becoming a regular and climbing the tower in spite of opposition from the people around me, I chose to become an anima. Rather than dominating animals and forcing them to obey me, I chose to get closer to them by giving them love. Interesting. I love that we're getting flashbacks for all of these characters too. It makes me want flashbacks for, like, I mean, we got a bit for Chodhi, but for other characters, like, I really just want more Ari Bright Sharon, I'm gonna be real. This is cool though. It took a long time, but I thought that was the best way to become a true anima. As I climbed the tower, I arrived at a certain village, and heard that the people there were having trouble because of some giant wild rabbits that came down from the mountain. Because of their enormous size and extraordinary fertility, the rabbits weren't easy to get rid of. Upon hearing that, I went to check out the mountain behind the village and found the rabbits' den. Seeing how many of them there were, I knew that the army would probably be called in to deal with them soon. Before the army could come and kill the rabbits, I offered to get rid of them for the villagers first. I found out that the giant rabbits came down to the village in search of food, so we temporarily locked every door in the village, and in one part of the village I put down some of their favorite food coated in a drug for reducing their fertility. As I expected, the rabbits swarmed that spot, and I went there every day and gave the rabbits food myself. At first, most of the giant rabbits avoided me, but over time they gradually let their guard down. After a lot of hard work, I finally managed to bring them under my control and stop them from reproducing. Then I gathered the villagers together and told them how to coexist peacefully with the rabbits. I told them that they may lack food now because of the rabbits, but as the rabbits' population decreases, the situation would soon improve, and the villagers listened to me. I taught the villagers how to befriend the rabbits, and the rabbits became their pets. Over time, the number of giant rabbits on the mountain decreased dramatically, and I stayed there for a long time because people recognized me as an expert on the rabbits. After a long time after that, suddenly, a lot of giant rabbits were found dead around the village, and witnesses said that some monster from the mountain had done it. People were terrified by the appearance of this unidentified monster. I headed over to the mountain on request from the villagers. Again, I'm loving these backstories. I thought that even the most terrible monster could be befriended with good, genuine intentions. But that belief of mine was shattered the moment I saw it. It was as big as a castle, with a flaming mane and 2 terrifying heads. It was unlike any animal I had ever seen before. Interesting, it's so freaky, I love this art. I couldn't even imagine befriending it. I felt so helpless. The monster slipped away into the darkness. I returned to the village, and seeing that I didn't know what to do, the scared villagers suggested that they bring in the army. A few days after that, someone named Yasracha appeared. He said that he was very familiar with the monster that had appeared in this village, and that he knew how to deal with it. He was confident that he could overpower it. Soon the battle began. There were flashes of light on the mountain, and some loud noises. I love these backstories. Then Yusracha came back with the unconscious monster. Seeing that, all of the villagers praised Yusracha's strength, and I was completely forgotten. Yusracha told them that wild animals are dangerous and shouldn't be tamed. He said that they can only be overpowered or killed, and he told the villagers that the giant rabbits must be eliminated from the village to prevent such monsters from reappearing. People thought that Yusracha was right, and so they began abandoning or beating and killing the rabbits they had been raising as pets. The dead bodies of the brutally murdered rabbits were found throughout the village. The rabbits, which had been lucky enough to escape or be abandoned, ran back to the mountain in fear. I couldn't stop them. All of this felt like it was my fault. I couldn't take it anymore, so I risked my life and went to see Yusracha. I told him that people began hating and killing innocent rabbits because of him. I said that I had to tell him that I believed that his violent ways were wrong, even if it meant endangering my own life. I told him how I had tamed the giant rabbits, and that animals and people have to find a way to live together in peace. Hearing what I had to say, Yusracha simply laughed and disagreed. Violent? Do you really think your approach is less violent than mine? Come with me. I'll show you what kind of person you are. I went with Yusracha. Yusracha took me somewhere in the giant mountain range connected to the mountain behind the village. What the villagers simply thought of as the mountain behind the village was actually part of an enormous mountain range, and what I saw there shocked me. A bunch of those terrifying monsters were devouring the giant rabbits. The rabbits were their food. That's when I realized why those monsters had come to the village. Do you get it now? Those beasts have been feeding on the giant rabbits for ages. They're quite intelligent, so they try to stay out of human territory as much as possible. That's why they never appeared on the mountain behind the village, which allowed the rabbits to escape there. If you had just left them alone, the beast would have come and gotten rid of the rabbits for you eventually. But because you brought the rabbits into the village and stopped them from breeding, the beast didn't have enough food, so they had to come to the village. If I hadn't got rid of the rabbits in the village, the hungry beasts might have gone and harmed the villagers. Then all those innocent people would have been killed, and these beasts would have been slaughtered by the government troops. That whole tragedy would have occurred because of one arrogant anima who thought that he could control nature. Do you still think I'm more violent than you? It's like all the stories of like, oh no, people accidentally brought in too many rats when traveling to these islands, so now we have to bring in snakes. Now we have to bring in mongai. Now we have to now the mongooses are eating too much. So, then, that's sort of the story of Kendrick here. I couldn't say anything. What came over me at that moment was not a feeling of guilt towards the animals that had died, but a feeling of helplessness that I, an anima, had failed to control the situation. I'm not trying to blame you. I actually understand how you feel. How could you understand? What people like you actually want is complete control over others, and animals are much easier to control than people. That's not true. Stop being such a hypocrite. Show that disgusting, arrogant desire to dominate everything. That's your true nature, and what you will become. If you can be honest with yourself, I'll give you the power to control a lot of things. The power to control. It was too sweet an offer to refuse. He knew me. I love this. And that's like only like a third of the chapter. Again, we get so much content, that would be like a chapter or a chapter and a half in most of the other things I read on the week to week, and yet that was just like a third of one chapter for Tower of God. 52nd floor, all out fight 3. And now we're getting back to the fight. Alright, Cha running in. This is a nice panel. I like the, I like the composition there. Of Kendrick in the background, then all the, little animal people running toward Cha in the foreground. That's really good. And he's still just fighting his way through. Battering them. Cha-cha no Gatling. And They're all getting taken down. Now, Hatsu, go for the division commander while I hold back the hostages. Purification. The distant and mysterious eastern sea that sharpened this sword is said to be a sea that purifies all things. The reason that this sword obeys me, even though I'm not a ranker, is because I may be weak, but I'm also slightly more transparent than rankers. Take it. Oh, flashback to how he got it? And he got it from... Who? Is this... I can't tell who this... Is this a sword? Yes, it's a sword. It looks too old to be Wang Nen. Wow, and you're giving it to him? Lucky him. I'm your student too. Okay, so it's lero-ro. I'm your student too. Don't you have anything for me? It's from Song, not me. They've chosen it very carefully because you're Bomb's companions, and they wanted to give you something that would be useful. It's even an ignition weapon. Interesting, so I wonder if other members of the Season 1 group got stuff from Song. Okay. It would be dangerous if anyone finds out that this is connected to Song, so if anyone asks where you got it, just tell them you found it by chance in the tower. What? An ignition weapon? Can regulars use it? Yes, D-rank regulars can use it. I was surprised too, but this sword is very proud, so it doesn't listen to people who are too strong. Its strength and abilities also change depending on the situation and its mood, and many rankers have died while trying to ignite this sword. What? Died? Yes, they just passed out and never woke up. What a scary weapon. Don't take out the sword or try to ignite it unless you absolutely have to. Funnily enough, the sword is more likely to listen to those who are weak, but only if its owner is free of greed and has a pure mind. If someone tries to use the sword with even slightly bad intentions, it can kill them. It has a mind of its own, so it's dangerous. And of course we know that all ignition weapons have a soul. I'm giving you this sword because I think you have a purer mind than anyone I know, Hatsu. I wonder if we're going to see Hatsu communicate with the soul of the sword then. You mean you can kill it? Or you mean it can kill you if you're too greedy? I know Hatsu isn't that kind of person, of course, but this is too dangerous. It's better not to use it. That's right. It's better not to use it if possible. Then why are you giving it to him? Swords are dangerous by nature, but it would be silly. I love this. This is tying in to what he learned from White as well. If you're always too afraid to use your sword, then you'll never be, a great swordsman. Because swords are dangerous by nature. They're killing tools. But it would be silly not to have a sword just because it's dangerous. It's certainly a dangerous sword, but as you climb the tower with Bomb, eventually you'll need it. When you're in a situation where you're willing to risk your life for something, if you focus entirely on that goal and ignite this sword, then I'm sure it will lend you its power. Just focus on saving these brainwashed people. If I don't ask for any more than that, I'm sure this sword will help me. Donghei, ignite. This is so cool. Just once. I can't take any more than that. Just this once. And we're seeing the sword design, or not the sword design, the orb designs, the stars or whatever that we saw before on it. Please work. And he slashes. This is so cool. Everyone reacts to it. And it seems like the orbs start breaking apart the beastification. God, this is so cool. I love seeing this for Hatsu. I love seeing this for our Season 1 characters. This is incredible. What another great chapter. What's going on? My days is getting weaker. Oh? And all the people start to be freed. We even see the rabbits. Did it work? Nice, he's losing control over them. I can't believe it. How could a regular break my spell? Thank you for this chance, Hatsu. I won't let it go to waste. And now... Oh? We have a crash. What is going on? Everything's getting torn apart. Regeneration isn't working? You bastards. And then Cha loads up Primal Punch. Lethal move. Tyreem. Jeez. And I'm assuming this is just a massive area effect from his punch. And it starts to tear Kendrick apart. And it knocks him out of his transformation as well. Jeez. I can't believe you were keeping so many hostages in that pyramid. You're not just twisted. You're evil. God, that's a great panel too. And a great line. Hey, stay back. Damn it. He tries to crawl away. Why am I being humiliated like this? Lord Yusracha gave me his power and put me at the top of the pyramid. And he's crawling towards the rabbits. This is so cool. This story, man. Hey, I've always looked after you animals. Are you trying to help me? Come here. Come here and keep that man away until I can get out of here safely. Cha just watches. Huh? And they all run from him. What are you doing? You're supposed to protect me. Are you disobeying me? I'm your master. And then we see the beast from before in the flashback. And it devours him. Have everybody reacting. Kendrick Deal, you always seem to be sitting. Is there something wrong with your legs? No, Lord Yusracha. Are you uncomfortable with me sitting? If that's the case. No, I'm just asking, purely out of curiosity. I see. I'm trying to avoid doing things myself, starting with walking. Is that so? One day it suddenly occurred to me that the dumber and more basic the animal, the more it requires its legs. It also occurred to me that I can get around just fine without using my legs. My job is to command others, not to move myself. I don't have to walk anyway, so I decided not to. That's an interesting idea. So you're saying you don't need to walk since you can just get others to do things for you. As you like, then. Yes, thank you, Lord Yusracha. I knew you would understand. Very impressive. Well, I'd better get going. His legs are a symbol of how much more evolved he is than other animals, yet he's proud to choose a regression just to show off his own power. That would be such a foolish choice to make for an animal whose life revolves around survival and evolution. Yet, it's also a very human choice. Jeez. Just the gruesomeness we're getting with, like, post-hiatus Tog. You really have become wonderfully corrupt, Kendrick Deal. Hatsu. Are you okay, Hatsu? It hurts so badly. It feels like my insides are going to explode from the pressure. Is this what it feels like every time you use that power of yours? Bomb? Hatsu. Hatsu. And he falls over from the thud. Bomb's part of the field. A new turn has begun. The number of squares in direction. 4 squares forward. Again, this seems like such a dumb idea for White. I'm hoping White is just going to swerve everybody and, like, not try to kill Bomb here. I hope it's a swerve, just because this seems like a dumb plan. I see. You're going that way, huh? So, you'd rather face the map boss than deal with me. No matter how strong the map boss may be, it can't be stronger than a legendary high ranker. I suppose that makes sense, but you'll probably regret it. White is going to catch up to me eventually unless I take this route. I don't have a chance of beating White right now. It's better to go with the route that has at least slightly better odds, even if there's an unknown factor. I'm going to avoid White and take the jumping route. If I can beat all the monsters in one turn, I might not have to face White. Even if I run into an extremely powerful monster, I'll be able to cross the map in the shortest amount of time. I'd like to move forward by 4 squares. Alrighty. And then he reaches the next thing, I guess. Would you like to open the prison? Yeah, hurry. The prison is now opening. Please note that monsters will come out of the prison. And we have this man rhino beast. It's huge. Is there just one monster? As I explained earlier, the jumping route allows you to save time, but the monsters in the prison are also much stronger. The monster that emerged from the prison is a middle area beast that even rankers were afraid of. This is its breeding season, so the male is even more aggressive than usual. Don't let your guard down just because there's only one monster. And we see Bomb trying to stop it. And he gets pushed back. He's right. It's way stronger than the other monsters. Come on, this isn't very entertaining to watch. Use that thorn or whatever to kill it, says White. This is great. You think I'm going to fall for that? I know you want me to use up all my energy here so that you can catch me. I was just trying to give you some helpful advice. I mean it. I don't want that thing to steal my prey. You still haven't really used the powers within you. You just use little bits and pieces of each power. You'll never gather enough power that way. You have to command the powers within you to gather together as one, with as much force as you can muster. When all your powers are directed at a single in a single direction at a single target, when they're compressed into one, that's the only way for you to properly use your power. So I guess that would be the combination of Bomb's power, the thorn, and the red and blue thrisses. I guess that's what he's got going on right now. Command my powers to gather together. What is it? Are you interested? No. Oh, and of course the soul power. I'm not interested in hearing what a nasty person like you, and he goes in with a regular Shinsu attack, has to say. Jeez, and it looks like he breaks through the horn. So cool. You are stubborn, but I don't think this is going to go quite as smoothly as you wish. Oh? And now, some sort of Shinsu flame erupts from where the horn was? Its horn got even bigger. Slayer candidate, it's only a matter of time. Until you set your powers on fire. The day when I first devoured another person's soul, I was extremely confused. I wondered, is it right to consume other people's souls like this just to gain power? If I can't take it back, how should I feel about the powers of the other people within me? But, because of my thirst for power, I continued devouring souls in spite of my confusion, and as I obtained more power, strangely enough at some point, that intense confusion simply vanished. All I heard was the clear sound of a single sword. The cries of all those souls I devoured were silenced, as though cut down by my blade. It was then that I learned about myself. I've always been different from them. I've been a ruthless predator since birth. I was destined for a blood-soaked crown. There was never any need to worry about any of that. This power could only be obtained by getting blood on my hands. This crown may be blood-stained, but it's a token given to a lord who towers over the dead. You are the same as me. I want to see you get drunk on your own enormous power, and put on this blood-stained crown yourself. I want to see you corrupted by great power. Interesting. So again, it's White further trying to push Bomb to use more of the souls. Again, another incredible chapter. Again, this was probably 5 or 6 chapters worth of everything else I read. It was incredible though. One thing I've got to say is, ever since we came back from the hiatus, this has been everything I wanted and more, because we are getting the sort of, what do I call it really? We're getting the division commander fights, and not only are we getting the division commander fights, and each of them's incredible. We're getting a backstory, we're getting a good fight out of it. The Chao fight, the Yuan Sung fight, both were great. Even weaker ones like Harayo and one other one got one shot off screen, but they continued to push forward the story overall. We got White here with the bomb stuff now. We have the Yama and Yusracha stuff going on. We haven't seen too much of Evankel yet. We haven't seen too much of Karaka and Doan, but it's only a matter of time before we get back to those two. We haven't seen much of Kun and the Hackney Elaine Rack group. I'm really excited to see that, because again, that seems like it's going to have a lot going on. And then we just got this incredible development for Hatsu, which is something that I feel like so many of us have wanted for such a long time. More development for these like older characters, or just the side characters around Bomb in general. I really feel like we need to develop them more. Obviously, they're not going to keep up with an irregular Slayer candidate, but develop them enough to where they at least can keep up a bit more than what we've seen, and I love that. So yeah, either way, that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Like if you did like the video, and comment down there to tell me what you thought of this chapter, my thoughts and reaction. Subscribe for more Tower of God, much more on the channel. Follow on Twitter if you want. If you want a link to the Discord server, just ask and I can give you one. If you want to help support the channel on Patreon, then just it's patreon.com/Haku of the tubes, or a link will be in the description. Sorry I got distracted just thinking that I think this chapter, last chapter, and the Yuhansung versus Haracha chapter with Haracha's backstory. All three of those chapters were like so incredible. Like, this is what Tower of God has been like missing, or really should be, for like such a long time. It's just so incredibly good. I think we're like entering a point where some of my favorite chapters in the entire series have been some of the most recent chapters. But either way, that's it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.